Welcome to Hypnosis Health Info. I'm Roger Moore. You know, folks, our bodies were made to move. We were meant to be active, and you know, we were hunters and gatherers, we were farmers, we were very active in the industrial age. People throughout history, for the most part, have been very physically active people. And people who were sedentary, you know, the kings and queens, tended to be fat, and not only from the food they ate, but also from physical inactivity, and they were diseased. And it's only been in, I don't know, probably the last 30 to 50 years of human history where people have become so sedentary. Think about it. You know, back in the horse and buggy days, people were still very physically active, and were doing lots of walking and movement, and they had to go out and get water, and they walked to go get their, to the garden to get their produce, and it's recently, we've been spending our time driving down the road and sitting in freeways and behind the steering wheel. We've been sitting at our keyboard on the computer. That's only been, since the 80s, and we sit in front of the tube with our remote. That's only been since, the TV in the 50s, and whenever remote controls came in, what was that, the 70s or somewhere in there? And it's recent years, a relatively short period of time of human history that we've been as inactive as we are. And this inactivity is killing us. And yesterday, which was July 17th of 2012, I saw a report in WebMD that talks about physical inactivity may be as deadly as smoking. It says not moving enough may be as hazardous to your health as smoking, a new study shows. The study, which is published in The Lancet, estimates that as many as 5.3 million deaths around the world were caused by physical inactivity in 2008. By comparison, researchers point out that cigarette smoking is estimated to cause about 5 million deaths worldwide each year. The study further estimates that 6% of heart disease, 7% of type 2 diabetes, and about 10% of colon and breast cancers are linked to lack of activity. This is super analysis, says James Levine, MD, PhD, professor of medicine at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. We know that as soon as somebody gets out of their chair, their blood sugar improves, their blood cholesterol and triglycerides improve, and that's very consistent. Every time you get up, it gets better. Every time you sit down, it gets worse. If you add up the fact that you sit a lot, many hours each day, the cumulative impact of a lot of sitting is not surprisingly, therefore, very bad. Inactivity plays a role in almost every chronic disease there is. We should maintain cigarette smoking as public health enemy number one, but we should move physical inactivity right up next to it. A separate Lancet study estimated that around the world, as many as 1 in 3 adults and 4 out of 5 teens between the ages of 13 and 15 are not getting recommended amounts of physical activity. For an adult, that's 150 minutes of moderate activity like brisk walking a week. For teens, it's an hour of moderate activity each day. Those numbers are even higher in the U.S. The study found that roughly 41% of adults in America don't get enough physical activity. 41% of us adults here in the U.S. are not getting enough physical activity. Folks, that's a problem for us. It's killing us. So not only are the processed, the manufactured foods that we're eating that are filled with fat, salt, and sugar, not only are they killing us, but the facts that we're just sitting around on our duffs and we're not moving is also killing us. And creating that desire, that motivation to exercise, to be physically active, for some folks is a tough challenge because it just becomes habit, it becomes just comfortable to sit and do nothing, and they become basically lazy. There's no incentive, there's no desire to get up and be active. And you can change that by learning self-hypnosis. And self-hypnosis isn't about being out of control. Self-hypnosis isn't about me or anybody else doing something to you. I'm a tour guide. I tell stories, and you do all the work. Because folks, we're always in a hypnotic trance. Hypnosis really is learning to take control of the trance you're in. So instead of being that numbed out, dull, lull state of trance, or where you're just sitting staring off into space doing nothing, or sitting at the remote or at the keyboard or whatever it is you might be doing, instead of being physically inactive and in that inactivity trance, you can take control of that trance, change it, give yourself new suggestions about being active, having that desire to move your body. Now folks, if you've been totally inactive, make sure you talk to your healthcare professional and make sure that it's okay for you to increase your activity level and what types of activity that you can do. And if you're not used to walking around the block, don't try to run a marathon tomorrow. Start out slowly and increase gradually. If you've not been walking at all, well then start walking 5 minutes at a time. And when you can do several 5-minute walks each day, make them 6-minute walks and eventually 10-minute walks. And build up that way so that you're getting 30 minutes of physical activity every day, whether it's jogging or walking or on a treadmill, or you're on an exercise bike, or you're riding your bike, or you're swimming or jump roping, or whatever, taking the dog for a walk, whatever that might look like for you, get up and get moving. And I've talked before about my mom, who's 90 years old, and she walks with a walker. But for the last 18 months, and she was out here on Bainbridge Island and stayed with us during that period of time, she's been exercising pretty much every day. And some days it's only walking around her house with her walker. Other days she's outside and walking where she can. Right now, my 90-year-old mom is in San Diego at my brother's, and tonight she was all excited because they were going to go to a car show. And she's going to be out walking down the street and at 90 years old looking at all these hot rod cars and the old restored cars and whatever else they may have there. But she's getting out, she's being active, she's doing what she can do at age 90. So no matter how old you are, you can make sure that you incorporate physical activity into your life. So if you want to learn more about hypnosis and how you can use hypnosis to create that desire, that motivation to be more active, to increase your intensity of activity, the duration of your activity, give me a call at 206-903-1232 or send me an email, roger@hypnosishealthinfo.com. And be sure to look up here in the orange menu bar at Hypnosis Health Info at all the tools, all the resources that are here. Many of them are free, that will help you make lifestyle changes that support you in your health and wellness. And you can set up a time to come meet me here in my Seattle office in the Medical Dental Building in downtown Seattle, or over in my office in Bainbridge Island. And if you live too far away, then we can set up telephone and Skype sessions. I have clients around the world and across the U.S. So give me a call, send me an email, let me know how to support you, and get out and get moving. I'm Roger Moore, and this is Hypnosis Health Info.